Okay, so I was doing some research to see if I can recreate the problems that people are having in different scenarios with the Sound Digital Evox amplifiers not turning off. And here's one way that I figured out. I did it wrong on purpose, and the amplifier came on. And then I did a proper ground, and it went off. So watch. Okay, so the bike is off. We're gonna add constant power to the DSR1 DSP. Now, if you could see that, the amplifier just came on. See that blue light right there? Amplifier just came on, the bike is off. Now, this is the ground wire for the DSP and the radio. Now, as soon as I connect the ground wire, notice that LED went out. Let me do it again. See the reflection? LED is on. I'm gonna hook up the ground. LED is off. Gonna disconnect the ground. LED is on. Gonna reconnect the ground. LED is off. Nothing wrong with the amplifier. It's proper grounding. When the amplifier sees the ground that it wants, then it can properly determine when to turn on and off. So now we're gonna cycle on the ignition. So the remote turn on light is right there. DSP just came on, amplifier just came on. Turn the ignition off. Amplifier's off. DSP's off. Very important to make sure you have a proper ground. Okay, one final test to prove my theory. The ignition is on. Amplifier is on, DSP is on. So now I'm going to leave the radio grounded, leave the amplifiers grounded. I'm going to turn off the ignition, and I'm going to give the DSP a bad ground. Ignition is off. Amplifier is off. DSP is off. Now I'm going to take my DSP ground wire right here and disconnect it. Amplifier just came back on. Ground disconnected. Ignition off. Gonna give myself a good ground again. DSP is grounded. LED turned off. Grounding's very important. We get ground directly from the battery, power from the battery, fuse block distribution. Do not do what the previous shop did and ground the amplifiers to the front of the bike. Don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Because then the amplifiers and the radio end up with two different grounds and it just causes a whole big mess. Don't do that. So now what we've done is tied the body of the radio into the ground harness of the radio and the DSP ground. So all three share the same ground, along with the amplifiers, the radio, the DSP, and the bike itself. The grounding to the body of the radio tip, that I can't take credit for. That was Michael Sean Foundation gave me that information, so I just incorporated it, and then we just make a tiny harness to split off the radio power harness and then tie into the body. That way everything's grounded together. It's not an issue that we've had, but it only takes an extra minute to add that cable just in case, so it doesn't happen in the future.